Before the salt and the lime, before the music, the laughter and the wild dancing, there was only silence. A silence that stretched across the sun-drenched hills of Jalisco, where a strange blue plant waited for the rain, for the sun, for almost a decade, before it could finally speak. They called it Agave azul, the blue agave. It is not a cactus, though it wears the jagged armor of one. It is a patient, living thing that spends years turning Mexican sunlight into sweetness, and that sweetness into a liquid fire. When that fire is finally tamed and finds its way into your glass, it carries a single, legendary name: tequila. A word born from an ancient tongue, from a land guarded by the shadow of a sleeping volcano. But what does that name truly mean? Is it merely a place on a map, a promise of quality, or a sacred legend passed down through generations of those who work the red earth? Today, we're uncovering the hidden secret behind Mexico's most mysterious spirit.
I'm Edward, and this is QC Project Simple Things.
Tequila is far more than just a drink. It is a denomination of origin, a sacred promise printed on every single label. Blue agave, Mexican soil, and centuries of ancestral know-how. By law, true tequila can only be born in Mexico, primarily from the volcanic highlands and sun-baked valleys of Jalisco. Here, the deep red soil is rich with minerals, and the agave roots dig deep into the earth, drinking in the essence of the land. Every bottle carries that protected name like a passport stamped by heritage. If it is made anywhere else in the world, it simply isn't tequila. It might be mezcal. It might be a spirit, but it is not this. And that is exactly where the magic begins. You see, the story of tequila doesn't start in charred barrels or sophisticated distilleries. It starts within the blue leaves of a plant that is almost always misunderstood. It is not cactus juice. Agave isn't even a cactus. It's a succulent, a distant and hardy relative of the lily.
Its spiked, formidable armor hides a heart overflowing with sweetness.
A heart that waits patiently for years, just to be transformed into fire.
Long before the word tequila ever crossed human lips, the agave was already a sacred entity. To the ancient civilizations of Mexico, the Nahua, the Aztec, and the Toltec, this blue-green plant was a divine gift from the goddess Mayahuel. Known as the mother with 400 breasts, she was said to nourish the world through her children, the agaves. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine her sap being gathered into pulque, a cloudy, milky drink used in solemn rituals. For over 2,000 years, pulque wasn't for celebration, it was a bridge, a way for humans to connect with the divine. The transformation began in the 1500s with the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors. When their beloved brandy ran dry, they turned their eyes toward the agave and their hearts toward fire. By distilling the fermented pulque, they forged something stronger, clearer, and entirely new, a spirit that would eventually be known as mezcal and later tequila. By the 1600s, the first large-scale distilleries began to rise near the town of Tequila, nestled at the foot of a sleeping volcano in Jalisco. As you stand at the base of that volcano today, you can almost feel the presence of Don Pedro Sanchez de Tagle, the man history honors as the father of tequila. He refined the craft, turning a rustic local drink into Mexico's first commercial spirit. The name tequila itself, rooted in the ancient Nahuatl tongue, carries a profound meaning: the place where plants are harvested. It is a name that honors the earth and the patience required to tame it. By the late 1800s, as the railway carried this liquid fire north, the world finally learned the name of the spirit born from the heart of a volcano.
Every drop of tequila begins in absolute silence, under a sun that burns for a decade.
The blue agave doesn't rush. It takes 7, 10, even 12 years before it's truly ready. Its thick, sword-like leaves guard a hidden heart called the piña, named for its striking likeness to a massive pineapple. Imagine trying to lift one. These hearts can weigh up to 90 kilos, and it is here that all the complex sugars lie sleeping. When the time is right, the jimadores arrive. These are men whose craft is measured not by raw strength, but by perfect timing. Using a sharp, flat-bladed tool called a koa, they skillfully carve away the leaves to expose the glowing heart. If they cut too early, the sugars are weak. Too late, and the spirit begins to die. It's a harvest that depends on ancestral instinct more than any modern calendar. Once gathered, the piñas are taken to the ovens. Traditional hornos, made of stone or brick, slow roast them for nearly 2 days, painstakingly breaking down tough starches into sweet, caramel-scented sugars. As the oven doors finally swing open, you can almost taste the air, thick with a fragrance somewhere between wild honey and ancient smoke. These golden piñas are now soft, sticky, and ready to yield their honey water, the agua miel. To extract it, some still use the tahona, a massive volcanic stone wheel pulled in slow, hypnotic circles to release earthy, complex flavors. Others choose mechanical roller mills, efficient, clean, and fast. It is a fascinating duel, the old soul versus modern muscle. That honeyed juice, the agua miel, then meets its next life, fermentation. It is poured into massive tanks of wood, steel, or concrete, where yeast, sometimes carefully cultivated, sometimes wild and unpredictable, begins to feast on the sugars. For 3 to 7 days, the liquid bubbles and breathes. The result is a humble agave beer, low in alcohol, but overflowing with potential. It is here that tequila first finds its voice, singing through the warmth and the quiet, rhythmic song of yeast at work. Then comes the trial of fire, distillation. Inside copper or stainless stills, the liquid is heated until the alcohol rises as vapor, only to be condensed back into a state of absolute purity. The first run, the ordinario, is rough and untamed. It is the second distillation that truly refines it, polishing the agave's character until it is clean, bright, and silver. At this precise moment, tequila is born. But from here, its story can take many paths, depending on how much time it spends in the shadows of the barrel. If bottled immediately, it is blanco, clear, raw, and vibrating with vegetal energy. A short rest in oak transforms it into reposado, giving it a golden calm after 2 months to a year of gentle warmth. Añejo stays longer, spending 1 to 3 years in the wood to draw out deep notes of vanilla, caramel, and spice. And then there is extra añejo. Aged beyond 3 years, it becomes a patient, sophisticated spirit that rivals the finest old whiskies and cognacs. From the red soil to the restless soul, from the sharp leaf to the crystal glass, it takes 10 years of sun, fire, and human hands, all for a single drop that tastes like the heartbeat of Mexico itself. By now you might be wondering, with all these sacred agaves, ancient ovens, and charred barrels, how is tequila actually any different from mezcal? Well, let's peel back the layers of the first and most common myth. Myth number 1. Tequila and mezcal are the same thing. Not quite. Technically, all tequilas are mezcals, because mezcal simply means cooked agave. But not all mezcals can claim the name of tequila. To earn that title, the spirit must be born from specific regions of Mexico and crafted exclusively from the blue Weber agave. While tequila shines with a cleaner, sweeter profile, mezcal is often roasted in smoky underground pits, giving it the rugged taste of a desert campfire and the raw earth. Myth number 2. Tequila comes from a cactus. It doesn't. Just because it's spiky doesn't make it a cactus. As we've seen, the agave is a succulent, a resilient relative of the lily. It doesn't belong in a desert cartoon, it belongs in a bottle of history. Myth number 3. There's a worm in every bottle. That is a ghost story. You will never find a worm in a bottle of true tequila. The famous gusano was a clever marketing twist found in some mezcals, not a sacred Mexican tradition. A real bottle of tequila relies on the plant, not a stowaway. Myth number 4. Real Mexicans drink tequila with salt and lime. Actually, the truth is much quieter. That ritual of lick, sip, suck largely started in bars abroad to hide the burn of low-quality spirits. In Mexico, locals usually sip it neat and slow. They aren't trying to chase the alcohol away, they're trying to catch the soul of the agave. Because the real secret of tequila isn't found in a salt shaker or a slice of lime, it's hidden in the decade-long story of the plant itself. From the sacred rituals of ancient gods to a symbol of national pride, tequila has evolved into something far greater than a mere spirit. It is Mexico itself, distilled and bottled. That label you see, denomination de origen, is not just a piece of legal protection. It is a cultural seal, a definitive signature that proudly declares, this soul could only have been born here and nowhere else. Today, tequila lives 2 distinct, fascinating lives. In one, it is the vibrant heart of the modern bar, woven into classics like the margarita and the paloma, symbols of sun, sea, and loud celebration. But in its other life, tequila is a slow, meditative ritual. It is the bright, crisp spark of a blanco, or the deep, wise calm of an extra añejo, savoured with the same reverence one might give to a fine scotch or an ancient cognac. Behind every pour, tradition and technology dance hand in hand. In the heart of Jalisco, you can still find a massive stone tahona grinding agave, just a few miles away from gleaming stainless steel autoclaves and high-tech roller mills. It is a world where the old soul meets modern craft, because tequila isn't frozen in history, it is alive. It is adapting, evolving, and carrying the tireless heartbeat of Mexico into every glass raised in a toast around the world. Now, before you think of tequila as just a quick shot, I want to give you the 10-second rule. This is how you show respect to a plant that waited 10 years just to meet you. The next time you hold a glass of high-quality tequila, forget the salt and the lime. Just give it 10 seconds. First, observe the legs of the spirit as they crawl slowly down the glass. A true tequila has a body that is rich and oily. Second, bring the glass to your nose, but don't inhale sharply. Let the scent find you. You're looking for the cooked agave, that deep, earthy sweetness that smells like roasted honey and rain-soaked soil. Finally, take a small sip and let it rest on your tongue. In those final seconds, you'll feel the transition from the bright, peppery heat of the alcohol to the smooth, lingering aftertaste of the minerals from the volcanic earth. In 10 seconds, you aren't just drinking, you're tasting a decade of Mexican sunlight. So the next time you hear the word tequila, remember it isn't just a drink for a wild night. It is a decade of Mexican sunlight, captured and bottled It is a spirit born from a sacred plant that refuses to be rushed, guarded by a sleeping volcano and crafted by hands that have known the red earth for centuries. Tequila teaches us a silent, powerful lesson about patience, that the best things in life cannot be forced. They must be nurtured, protected, and allowed to ripen in their own time. It is a reminder that even in our fast-paced world, some secrets are only revealed to those who are willing to wait. If you enjoyed this journey into the heart of the blue agave, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this video with someone who needs to know the true story behind the bottle. Also, make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss a single secret from the world of simple things. Now, tell us in the comments, do you prefer the bright energy of a Blanco or the deep, aged calm of an extra añejo? We'd love to hear your story.
I'm Edward, and thank you for watching QC Project Simple Things.
Remember, history often hides in the smallest details, and every simple thing has a secret waiting to be told. Stay curious, stay kind, and I'll see you in the next story.